Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Thursday, September 29th, and we are dealing with quite some topsy-turviness in the market. Lots of volatility since yesterday. Funny enough, price is around the same price as it was when we spoke yesterday, which was right around here. So we are kind of at the top of the inner range from where we've been trading. And we just had a big boost, literally right before I came on for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So both are kind of at that top of the range. Both are knocking against the downward trend, which has been valid for pretty much more or less the entire month of September for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I can zoom out a little bit, and I'll hit the hourly so you can see the trend, starting since mid-September all the way down. We do have, and we'll let this load up a little bit. We do have, equal lows, higher low, equal low, higher low. So, in terms of general formation, this is positive to see that we're kind of curling up, so that's good. Sentiment, and let me actually adjust this ever so slightly. Sentiment, we can see, still kind of neutral for ETH, but the big deal here is the fact that sentiment spiked very heavily earlier in the week. It's now been neutral since then. So typically we end up seeing bullish continuation after, a sentiment spike and neutral sentiment following. And then for Bitcoin, obviously spike here, and then it's been moving higher throughout the day. So definitely positive there. Also, hourly sentiment this morning, very positive, dipped down a little bit just recently, but very positive for the morning for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, definitely two signs that you would like to see. Interestingly enough, equities are, back at the lower end of their range. We've been tracking this range for quite some time, dating back to last week. Deviated lower out of it yesterday, popped back in, and then deviated and out of it again last night. We are, of course, again, looking at some deviation here. We have a new POC formed. It bounced off of that. Nice, strong wick. Bullish engulfing. Now we have, this hourly is going to close soon. Would really like it to close above 36.45, but as long as it closes above the previous lower end of the two bottom candles right here, the bottom of the bodies of the candles is what I was looking for. As long as it closes above that, it should be seen as a bit of a good sign. The dollar's, starting to, potentially bounce off the 200-day moving average. I lined up this, to show the top of where you would expect, potential range to be for the dollar. So if it came down into this level, I would expect it to, bounce around before potentially moving out. But it could also, it could definitely bounce here and then do something like that as well. So definitely something to watch out for. But obviously the dollar coming off of its highs, definitely a good sign for risk assets. That doesn't look like an asset that you want to immediately long, but we do know how the dollar can react. But to me, that does look like, you'll probably see some pressure come off and we might head a little bit lower, which could give credence to a bit of a risk rally. So looking at Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, very, ugly range here. But like I said, equal low, equal lows, equal low, higher low, good sign for the bulls. So we have a lot of liquidity down low. We have a good bit of liquidity here. So it wouldn't shock me to see something, at least consolidate here before move higher, or we move back down to this area and then try and creep up again. I doubt we just immediately bust through, but crazier things have happened for Bitcoin. So no deviation. We do have, higher low for both RSI and obviously the candles. And we really need to, what we need to do is break above this, consolidate here, and then break above here. And then I would expect something like this. Because if we continue to zoom out, we can see there's opposing trends, or not opposing trends, but layered trends, I should say. So the full downward trend for Bitcoin goes, could take us, if we were on a bullish trajectory here, could easily see us back at like 20.5 for something like that. But breaking this downtrend that starts from mid-September cleanly would definitely help support, heading up to the next level. And judging by this liquidity level here, you could see 21.6 if things really do get some legs on them. Stock RSI for the hourly is still only halfway through where you would expect a full trend to complete. So definitely, some positivity there for the bulls as well. So looking at Ethereum, very similar, just a bit more of a tight range. We've got a lot of liquidity in the current range. We've got some liquidity sitting up here. So if we were to break, we really need to flip this POC into support and then head up here, do something, and then something like that would be very positive to see. We do have this. Let me get rid of this. We do have this liquidity level here. So that direction would make sense, but obviously we have to break through this area first. And obviously there's going to be some volatility. We've got two POCs here with a lot of liquidity. So, as long as sentiment stays bullish, we're clearly on a bullish trajectory. Obviously things are going to have to, reset, breathe a little bit, if you want to call it that. So it would make sense to potentially see ETH back at 1328, 1330 before, potentially another bullish maneuver. And then obviously if it just falls here, it'll fall right back to this POC for potentially another boost higher. So, obviously we do know that the beginning of the day, beginning of the trading session presents the best opportunity. As we can see here, markets opened right around here, and then they immediately skyrocketed higher over the past 3 hours. So, good. There was a good trading opportunity there. It may be a little bit, late to try and play this trend, considering how high the 5-minute RSI is and how crazy volatility has been when we get up here. We probably see some volatility in this range, and then I would expect it to maybe cascade back down a little bit before moving higher, as long as equities cooperate. Now, equities do not seem to want to cooperate in a friendly manner, which may, we're going to have to see how this closes, because we still have a lot of liquidity here. We still have this POC here. So, we can still close above 36.25 and still have a good opportunity. But, I will say that equities do look a little bit less exciting right now. And so that may translate into the crypto chart, although, clearly this looks a lot more friendly than the S&P 500 chart. So definitely something to watch out for is if equities end up breaking new lows, recent new lows at least, then, I would expect that pressure on crypto to really get tested. So let's just kind of line this up. So our recent low for equities was around 3 a.m. Pacific on the 28th. And so where is 3 a.m. Pacific? Right around here. So this was the low for the S&P 500, and clearly, heavy bounce out of it, and, higher low again, while the S&P 500 may be making a higher low here, but we have not seen that confirmed yet. So, patiently waiting to see how it reacts on these series of POCs and within this liquidity. Bulls want to see it curl back up, and bears want to see it start to fall back lower. Your guess is really as good as mine as to how much crypto is going to hold in that scenario. But I would assume that downward pressure on the S&P 500 would also equate to some sort of downward pressure on Bitcoin, which could send us right back down here, which is where we were when those new lows were formed, for either more carnage or a rise higher. So I don't really have an extremely clear lead or read, I should say. We just had that boost. If you didn't close longs, then that was probably a good place to do it. We may recharge here and end up heading higher. That would be the best case scenario. But given equities, we may end up heading back to the recent lows. Dollar is looking a little bit weaker, but obviously has not, it's going to be a slog, and it's going to potentially be, more volatile than we desire, meaning it could completely turn around here with this wicking action. So, there's a lot of red herrings to look out for still, but daily sentiment bullish for Bitcoin. I guess, important to note that it may be kind of, topping here a little bit. So something to note. And then, daily sentiment for Ethereum is still kind of neutral bearish, but we had that bullish spike, which typically signals continuation. And we did have a strong reaction today. So let's see how we react to these POCs. I have a feeling that we might get surprised, due to this kind of new narrative that crypto may be back in vogue for all of these risky trades and turmoil with equities and bonds and such. But we've yet to, see that narrative play through. It takes time for these things to solidify. But in my opinion, as long as equities behave, meaning don't make new lows, I would be shocked if Bitcoin didn't try and tag 20.2 again, and if Ethereum didn't try and at least tag, 1380 to 1390 again. I do think that is more likely than not based on sentiment and a few of the technical indicators that we've seen. So good luck, happy trading. We will see you again same time tomorrow. And we also have a Twitter Spaces with John Nigerian today at 4:30 p.m. on the Trade the Chain Twitter account. So 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune into that, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Good luck and happy trading.